Hey everyone, it's Rod with the Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today's Friday, July 7th. Happy Friday. Hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the first multi-state operator in the US to uplist to the Toronto Stock Exchange. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future live streams or when I post a new video. I had a couple requests about this one, and it is now the ticker TSND on the TSX, so TerrAscend. And like I said, this is the first major MSO who is uplisting to the Toronto Stock Exchange. So this is definitely a milestone, a huge milestone for the company. And full disclosure, I do not own any TerrAscend stock. So first and foremost, this isn't financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm never telling anybody to buy, sell, or hold. You have to do your own research and buy something because you researched it and you believe in it and you've done your due diligence. But never buy something because somebody online or somebody's covering it on YouTube, especially, someone like me who's just a retail trader. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is a company that I'm going to be looking into a little bit more. But let me know in the comments below if this is a stock that you hold in your portfolio. Like I said, I'm going to be covering this on the channel a lot more lately, and I had a couple of requests, but it's not one of the most popular stocks that most retail are tracking. So definitely going to be on my list and on my radar a lot more lately. But as you can see here, on July 4th, TerrAscend, a leading North American MJ company, announced the commencement of trading of its common shares on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the new ticker symbol TSND. No action is required by shareholders in order to continue their common shares as a result of the listing. So the change of the ticker symbol was previously TER on the Canadian Securities Exchange. And as we know, a lot of these MSOs are unavailable to U.S. investors, retail investors, because they can't buy them, right? Because they're on the Canadian Securities Exchange, the CSE, or they're on, the Toronto Stock Exchange. And some brokers, right? Most brokers don't allow that to happen. And then even some brokers don't allow OTC. So MSOS, the ETF, is a way to kind of gain some exposure because that's on a U.S. major exchange to some of these Canadian tickers. But once they uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, and we know that there's the safe banking bill that's going through, it's been passed, in the House multiple times. It just stalls in the Senate. We know that we could see a Senate floor vote at some point over the next couple of weeks. Now that the July 4th and Independence Day recess is over, we could realistically see that any week now. But we know that HHS is also set to review and reclassify MJ, so we could potentially see it, rescheduled or even descheduled, and that could in turn help with the 280E tax code and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. So we have a couple of things going on right now in terms of reform, right, the safe banking, and then HHS reviewal. So those two things could help us potentially uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, and that would be massive for these companies. And this is a step in the right direction, right? The fact that TerrAscend is now available on the TSX is just, kind of a glimpse into the future, that there's so much growth to be had, and this is really nothing when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Whenever they finally uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, that's going to be when the floodgates will open up. So we are early. Today is an incredible day for TerrAscend and our stakeholders. We believe our TSX listing will provide the company with greater access to a broader group of institutional retail investors and looking for attractive opportunities in the MJ space. With all the fundamental progress that we have made over the past 12 months, combined with the TSX listing, we believe we have achieved our goal of truly becoming an independent of the need of regulatory reform. And I think they're top 10 now in the US in terms of market cap. We would like to thank TSX for their courageous leadership, and we are honored to be listed on their exchange. Additionally, I want to thank every member of the TerrAscend team, along with Castles, for their incredible effort to get us where we are today, said Jason Wild, Executive Chairman of TerrAscend. And then also, TerrAscend did do a round of private placements on June 30th, 2023, bringing the total aggregate proceeds raised to approximately 21 million USD. So we'll just go through this here. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to mention there. But again, as I mentioned, this is the first company that has become the first U.S. MSO to trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So definitely a great milestone for the company. And then also Canopy Growth congratulated TerrAscend on its Toronto Stock Exchange listing. And as we know, Canopy USA LLC's conditional ownership stake in TerrAscend is about 18%. So that represents an aggregate market value of approximately 155 million Canadian based on TerrAscend's closing price on July 4th. And if we take a look at the chart here, we have some massive bullish indicators that are flashing. So we could potentially see these EMAs, the weekly EMA 12 and 26 period, when the shorter term is below the longer term and they cross, that's a bull cross. Look what happened whenever we had a bear cross. Price went from about $20 all the way down to $1.30. And then now we're seeing the reverse of that when we have the shorter term above the longer term and they cross, that's a bear cross. And we saw from there, right, that was the high of February 2021 when everything just completely got demolished, right? And we dropped over 93%. So it doesn't matter if you're Canadian, American producer, retailer, everything is down. ETFs, everything is down mostly 80 to 90% plus. But this is a huge indicator here that is flashing that we could potentially be set to see this bull cross the first time since the highs of February 2021 and being down over 93%. We could see a ton of upside from here. And if we can get a couple candle closes, you can see here, ever since we lost it, we haven't been able to close 2 or more candles above that EMA 26. We got close here, we got close here, here, but we got knocked back down, and here we are. We closed 1, didn't manage to get 2 in a row though, and then here we closed 2 in a row weekly candles over that EMA, and we could potentially start to see it cross as well into next week. So I think we could easily see from here, a lot of upside. We could easily see a retrace back to these EMAs here on the monthly time frame. And from the current level, if we just go back to EMA 26, that's about 20% of upside. And then to the price action resistance, that's about 44% of upside. And then about 85% of upside just to get back to EMA 26 there on the monthly time frame. And we had that monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well, adding more bearishness to the chart. But now we're potentially seeing these EMAs cross on the monthly time frame, which is even more bullish because on the longer term time frames, it adds way more weight to it, depending if it's a bear cross or a bull cross. But it's likely going to be multiple months here before we see these EMAs cross on the monthly time frame. But it's great to see on the weekly time frame that we're seeing that. And like I said, we've got 2 weekly candle closes. I want to see 1 more weekly candle close next week over that EMA 26 to remain ultra bullish. But MSOS was up over 8% today. It's looking really, really juicy as well. And all MJ really looking to form a long-term bottom here, in my opinion. But again, as we know, we can't be confident the bottom is in until we see monthly uptrends across the sector, not just in the US, but Canadian names as well, retailers, ETFs. When we get our higher low and higher high, that is when we're going to be confident across the space. When all names are in monthly uptrend is when we're going to be confident. And then also when we see golden crosses across the sector. And right now, TerrAscend is seeing a golden cross with the 50-day moving average below the 200-day. And when they cross, that's called a golden cross. It's extremely bullish. And if we just zoom out on the chart here, we actually had, there were so many bearish indicators, right? Back in after the highs of February 2021, we had the death cross with the 50-day, the shorter term above the longer term, in this case, the 200. When that happens, that's called a death cross. When that happened, price was at around $14, and then again, we dropped down to around $1.30. Now we're seeing the reverse of that with the 50, the shorter term below the 200 and crossing. That's a golden cross. So we could see a ton of upside from here, in my opinion. And if you're looking at some targets, we're back above the 50 weekly moving average here as well, and we could easily see some runway up to around that 450 area. So I think 450 is easily doable here over the next couple of months, as we're very much gaining some bullish momentum. Even on the weekly time frame macros, we had a bull cross of the MACD and the stochastic, and we're holding above that 10-week moving average. So this is definitely one of the strongest charts out there. I mentioned in yesterday's video, I did a video on Cureleaf. Cureleaf potentially could buy Kronos Group. Kronos is exploring sale, and Cureleaf is one of the main parties interested. And that's a very, very strong chart at the moment as well as Cureleaf. And today, Cureleaf, I said that we could easily see some upside from here. And then today, Cureleaf was up a ton again. So just over the last four to five trading days, we're up almost 40%. But just from yesterday's close to the high of today, we were up about 18%, just under 18%. So this is definitely due for some cool down period, right? Cureleaf definitely due for a pullback, but we're starting to see some strength in numbers here in the US names. And like I said, MSOS, very strong close today, up over 8%. That's great to see for a name like, for an ETF like MSOS. And MSOS is a great way for Americans who don't have access to these names on the TSX or the CSE to gain exposure to some of these names, right? But you got to remember that it's a basket of different MJ stocks. So they have some REITs in there, which has really been hurting the ETF. But realistically, MSOS, if we zoom out to the monthly time frame, it's basically just in the same camp as all MJ, right? From February 2021 highs, now down over 90%, almost 91% there to the bottom. And I've been on record to say that this was a great swing opportunity playing off $5 psychological, setting your stop below $5. And there was multiple times to get in on this at that support. And we had these multiple monthly inside bars, 2 monthly inside bars in a row that broke bullish. That was a great scenario as well to go long when we broke 590. And then if we break 637, that's going to be the level to be watching out for. We could easily see 40 to there's 130% of lack of resistance, just the price action, and then EMA 26 is about 160% of upside. So like I said, USMJ is starting to look pretty juicy at the moment, and TerrAscend, definitely going to be a name I'm going to be looking at covering a lot more here into the future. But like I said, it's looking extremely bullish here on the weekly time frame. With all the three indicators here, stochastic, MACD, 10-week moving average looking very, very strong. And then, like I said, getting back above that 50 weekly with some runway there to the 100 weekly there at about 450. And then we could see some serious upside as a result of this golden cross. So this is definitely one of the most bullish looking charts I've seen in a while. Curly, very, very bullish as well. But let me know in the comments below if you hold TerrAscend in your portfolio, if you're looking to add it. If you're in the US, let me know if you have tried any of their products. What's your favorite product? What's your favorite brand? Like I said, I want to be doing some more research into this company, and I could be potentially building a position as soon as next week, but going to do a little bit more DD on my end, and I'll report back and keep everybody up to date. But going to end it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Hope you have a fantastic weekend ahead, and thank you again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.